My roommate had a peculiar, giant growth. Any gas she passed, once it traveled past this growth, would turn into a fragrant beard scent. This growth severely impacted her life, so I, out of kindness, advised her to get surgery and have it removed. After some hesitation, she listened. But then, she accidentally discovered that the school's hot shot loved anything with a beard scent, and she was absolutely furious. Choking back sobs, she shoved my head into the water. If you hadn't meddled, the person the hot shot loved right now would have been me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment before I advised her to remove the growth. Seeing her reveling in her fragrant, beard-scented gas, I decided to ignore it, waiting for her peculiar growth to get bigger and bigger. Can you all smell it? The beard scent is so strong. Lily, upon entering the room, took a deep breath and exclaimed loudly, "I wasn't prepared for this in my previous life." Hearing her, I instinctively sniffed the air with her. Who would have thought it was Hannah's gas? I can't believe I've been reborn into this exact moment. Damn it, the rebirth was too sudden. I didn't even have time to prepare a mask. After unconsciously bowing my head and holding my breath, I made a firm decision to go to the supermarket downstairs to buy strategic supplies. Lily, seeing no one in the room paying attention to her, talking only to herself, felt a little embarrassed. She scratched her head, unwilling to give up, and asked again, are you all really not smelling it? This beard scent is really strong. Hannah, Tina, Susan, no one is saying anything. Did one of you secretly eat strawberries behind my back? Quickly share 2 with me, and I'll forgive the past. Otherwise, be careful, I'll be mad at you all. Are you sick? Susan looked up, rolling her eyes in disdain. At this moment, Hannah's cheeks were flushed, and she shyly wrung the hem of her skirt with both hands. She mumbled softly, "Lily, no one secretly ate strawberries. It's just that I ate a bit too much for lunch. I couldn't hold it in just now, so I let out some gas. My gas naturally smells like a fragrant beard." As soon as her words finished, Lily's face stiffened, turning pale, almost sickly green. After regaining her composure, she shrieked, "You mean I just took a big whiff of your gas? Hannah, if you don't want to share your strawberries with me, fine, but you don't have to be so disgusting." What Lily didn't know was that Hannah had a special constitution. A miraculous growth had sprouted behind her rear, and all gas passing through it transformed into a beard scent. Because of this, Hannah always carried a faint, sweet beard scent year-round. The larger the growth became, the stronger the beard scent would be. In my previous life, after learning this secret, Lily would say nothing to Hannah's face, but behind her back she created a chat group. Day after day, they would curse Hannah. So disgusting. And she still dares to cultivate an adorable image. Now, because of her, I don't even want to look at strawberries anymore. Oh God, there are even some blind guys who like her. She's both disgusting and flirtatious. What is the reason for all this? Exactly. If it weren't for her sharing a set of Hainan Jimai with me yesterday, I wouldn't even pay attention to her. I truly couldn't stand their behavior of accepting benefits while backstabbing. At that time, Hannah was also addicted to fried and spicy foods. Her peculiar growth, under her constant stimulation, became increasingly severe, to the point where she walked awkwardly and uncomfortably, unable to sit for long. I pondered over it and couldn't help but advise her to get surgery to remove the growth. After much deliberation, Hannah nodded in agreement. The surgery was very successful. She quickly bid farewell to the beard-scented gas, and her gait returned to normal. In her white dress, she looked so beautiful, almost ethereal. From then on, Hannah no longer needed her roommates to help her conceal her secret. Because of this, she also stopped giving them gifts. Losing their topic for gossip, they began to gnash their teeth and sow discord. Hannah, your most distinctive feature was that beard scent. Without it, you feel so ordinary. Even the school's hot shot, who once had feelings for her, publicly confessed his love to someone else on social media. Even the beard scent I loved most is gone. What else is there for me to like? In a fit of rage, Hannah choked back sobs. She asked me to meet her by the pond, and I happily agreed. Who would have thought she would push my head into the water? It's all your fault. If you hadn't meddled, the person with the hot shot now would have been me. Opening my eyes once more, I was reborn. The me of now, naturally, wouldn't meddle anymore. I just coldly watched Lily and Hannah argue. Susan pretended to be fair, stepping in to mediate, but with a clear bias. Come on, Lily, Hannah didn't do it on purpose. Give her a break. After all, she didn't force you to smell her gas, did she? Lily and Susan secretly disliked each other a bit. Seeing Susan defend Hannah, Lily stomped her foot, indignant, and turned to look at me. But I wouldn't be foolish enough to be her scapegoat like in my previous life, inviting Hannah's hatred. Lowering my eyes, I, along with Susan, advised Lily. "That's right, Lily. Hannah already said it, it's just her gas. You don't need to cling to it so relentlessly." I believe Hannah isn't the kind of person who buys strawberries and is unwilling to share with us. Besides, who can control passing gas? I remembered her gaze, and my heart would soften, feeling it wasn't Hannah's fault, ready to rush to her defense. But now that gaze only made my stomach churn, recalling the cold, murky water of the pond, the suffocating sensation as it filled my nasal cavity. "That's right, Lily, Tina and Susan are right." Hannah immediately found her footing, her voice sweet and a little smug. "I didn't do it on purpose either. Besides, a beard scent is so fragrant, much better than some people's." She cast a meaningful glance at Lily, not finishing her sentence, but the implication was clear. Lily covered her nose, speechless, pointing at Hannah. Finally, she stomped her foot forcefully, slammed the door, and stormed out. In the dormitory, only the three of us remained. The fragrant beard scent had almost completely dissipated. Susan was clearly in a good mood after Lily left. The corners of her mouth curved into a playful smirk as she took out her phone and started scrolling through videos. Hannah, like a proud little peacock, walked to her desk and sat down, carefully adjusting her posture. The peculiar growth clearly made her a bit uncomfortable. She skillfully took out a bag of potato chips and a cold can of Coca-Cola from her drawer. With the satisfying pop of the can opening, she began to eat and drink contentedly. Although Hannah looked sweet and lovely and had a beautiful figure, her preferred snacks were all spicy, fried, and cold. Other things weren't an issue, but these were precisely the nutrients that stimulated her peculiar growth to develop wildly. In my previous life, seeing Hannah indulging, I would certainly worry and remind her, "Hannah, eat less of these things, they're not good for that part of you." She would always turn back and coo at me, "I'm only having a little." This time, I averted my gaze, opened my laptop, pretending not to see. Susan, on the other hand, was a bit suspicious. "Hannah, didn't you just finish dinner? Why are you starting on snacks already?" Without waiting for Hannah to feel awkward, I quickly and thoughtfully explained for her. "Oh, it's fine, Susan. After all, our Hannah never gets fat no matter how much she eats, and she doesn't get acne either. This talent, others can only envy it. We're not short on money, so just eat whatever you want as long as you're happy." My tone was utterly sincere. Hannah immediately chimed in. Right, Tina understands me best." The greasy beard scent of the potato chips, mixed with the sweetness of Coca-Cola, diffused into the air. Faintly, it seemed a hint of the peculiar beard scent was beginning to form. I quietly left the room and headed to the supermarket to buy a mask. When I returned, Hannah looked at me with concern. "Tina, why are you wearing a mask? Are you not feeling well?" Just a slight cold," I said, evasively changing the subject. "Afraid of spreading it to you all." I shook the shopping bag in my hand, which contained several boxes of masks and a powerful air freshener spray. "Oh, right, on my way back just now, I heard that Ethan Shen has been studying for his graduate exams lately." As soon as I finished speaking, Hannah's eyes immediately lit up. She even forgot to chew her potato chips. Susan also looked up from her phone screen, showing interest. I already knew they would react this way because Ethan Shen was our school's hotshot, incredibly handsome. Countless people secretly loved him. Anyone who passed by him would be deeply impressed. After all, in my previous life, my good roommate, Hannah, eventually killed me because of him. If you like Ethan Shen so much, then in this life, I'll give you a hand. I inwardly sneered, but outwardly I pretended to say casually, "I heard someone say that Ethan Shen has been a regular at the library lately. He's there every day, from 1 p.m. until closing at 9 p.m. He's handsome and smart. He's got everything." "Which floor of the library does he usually go to?" Hannah immediately pressed. "I think it's the 3rd floor," I recalled a rumor from my previous life. "The spot near the window there has good lighting. He seems to really like sitting there." Hannah's eyes were already starting to glaze over, her complexion even faintly flushed. She was clearly planning her accidental encounter. Susan **ed, laughing without really laughing, and turned to text me mockingly. "Hannah, that weirdo with the beard-scented gas, actually wants to pursue the hot shot? Ridiculous. I think she's a total joke." "But Susan, you don't understand. The hot shot really does like beard scent. The next morning, Hannah indeed started taking action. She changed into her most figure-hugging, short leather dress, applied light, delicate makeup, and even meticulously styled every strand of hair. "Tina, do I look pretty like this?" She twirled in front of me, her face full of anticipation. Looking at the tight leather dress on her, I didn't know if it was my imagination, but I always felt that Hannah not only couldn't quite close her legs, but also seemed to have a mysterious protrusion behind her bottom. Could it be that all that food had caused a chemical reaction in her body, promoting the growth and development of her peculiar growth? Afraid that Hannah would discover a clue, I flashed a beautiful, genuinely fake smile. "Hannah, this dress highlights all your best features. Ethan Shen definitely won't be able to take his eyes off you, but the library's air conditioning is cold. Sitting for a long time might get chilly. Do you want to bring a soft cushion?" After all, if she had to sit on a hard chair for so long, I shuddered, wouldn't that peculiar growth explode? "Ah, right, Tina, you're so thoughtful," Hannah suddenly realized, quickly rummaging through her closet for a thin seat cushion and stuffing it into her bag. To help her attract the hot shot's attention, I spent another large sum, buying her an ice cream cone. Hannah, though she didn't understand why, happily accepted my gift. I watched her twisted figure, struggling to maintain elegance but looking stiff with pain, disappear. I leisurely put on my mask, timing my arrival at the library. After all, Hannah's beard-scented gas would soon burst forth violently. How could I not look forward to it? The southern area of the library's third floor was filled with the smell of books and the cold air from the air conditioning. I found a corner where I could clearly see Ethan Shen and Hannah's movements, yet remain inconspicuous, and sat down. Ethan Shen was indeed sitting in his usual spot near the window, the sunlight outlining his delicate facial features. His appearance was indeed quite captivating. Hannah, holding a cup of water, pretended to look for books. She walked back and forth a few times in the aisle near Ethan Shen. I don't know if it was due to friction, but after 2 steps, she seemed to want to adjust her underwear. Finally, she targeted the empty seat next to Ethan Shen and carefully sat down. At that moment, even from a distance, I could feel the fleeting pain in her contorted expression. Hannah's body was clearly a bit stiff. Her bottom only dared to rest on one side, but her back was ramrod straight. Minutes ticked by. Hannah's sitting posture became increasingly unnatural. She started to shift frequently, trying to find an angle that would alleviate the pain. Her forehead even beaded with tiny drops of sweat. The beauty she had painstakingly applied that morning completely vanished, leaving only a faint trace of misery as she squirmed like a caterpillar. Ethan Shen frowned slightly, looked up, and his cold gaze swept over Hannah. "Student, if you're not studying, please don't disturb others." Hannah immediately jolted as if electrocuted, sitting upright, wanting to explain. Just then, the morning ice cream fiercely attacked Hannah's stomach. With a soft ***, Hannah's smile froze on her face. A strong beard scent swept through the entire library. Everyone around widened their eyes in surprise. They whispered amongst themselves, "What's that smell? Eating and drinking are prohibited in the library. Who violated the rules?" Under everyone's gaze, Hannah's face turned beet red. She clutched her bottom, her legs trembling, and in an extremely peculiar posture, she stumbled towards the restroom. The moment she stood up and left her seat, an overwhelmingly pungent beard scent erupted, immediately enveloping the surrounding seats. Ethan Shen was the first to bear the brunt. He suddenly stiffened as if choking, but immediately after, he unexpectedly took a deep breath, completely engrossed in the scent. "Oh my God, this is a fragrant beard scent. I love it so much. It's the scent coming from that girl just now." At this moment, Hannah returned, her face filled with shame and awkwardness, clearly immersed in an inescapable feeling of regret. Just as she covered her face, hastily gathered her belongings, and tried to escape, Ethan Shen suddenly grabbed her hand. "Student, could I have your contact information?" Everyone present's eyes converged on them. "What? Hot Shot Shen is actually actively asking a girl for her WeChat?" Hannah stood stunned. She pointed at herself incredulously. "Are you talking about me?" "Yes, student." Ethan Shen lightly coughed, a little shy. "I really love the beard scent emanating from you. In the future, could your gas only be for me to smell?" Looking at Hannah's joyful expression, I sneered. A chilling current, carrying the pleasure of revenge, surged within my chest. "Like it? You'll like what's coming even more." Hannah, all those past incidents were just appetizers for your precious peculiar growth. If you want to use your fragrant beard-scented gas to attract the hot shot, then let it absorb nutrients to its heart's content, grow bigger, and smell even more fragrant. Very quickly, it was the school anniversary celebration. Under my subtle instigation, Hannah and Ethan Shen's relationship quickly heated up. Ethan Shen seemed truly captivated by that unique beard scent. He stopped studying for exams and ran after Hannah every day. As for Hannah, immersed in the hazy, dreamlike bubble with the hot shot, the crystallization of her love on her bottom grew larger and larger under her intentional indulgence. Lily finally couldn't take it anymore and pulled Susan and me into a chat group. "No, I truly don't understand. I wasted my time liking Ethan Shen before. Is he a pervert, liking farts?" Susan, who normally disliked Lily, unusually didn't refute this time. I was a little surprised. I smirked. Their previous backstabbing of Hannah was still vivid in my mind. In this life, with the addition of Ethan Shen, their common enemy had shifted. I was about to leave the group, but my finger paused for a moment, and I still typed a few lines. Perhaps Hot Shot Shen only likes beard scent. It just so happens that Hannah is quite special, knowing how to pass beard-scented gas. No sooner had I spoken than the chat group exploded. "Oh my God, Hannah eats so much every day and doesn't go to the restroom. Her gas is getting stronger and stronger. I'm about to suffocate." Exactly. Which normal dormitory smells like strawberries all the time? Now, when I smell strawberries, I want to vomit, I said weakly, but there's nothing we can do. Hannah passes gas, we can't stop her. Lily was the first to come up with an idea. "I really can't stand it anymore. We can't stop her from passing gas, but didn't they say Hannah's peculiar growth gets stronger with a beard scent the bigger it gets? At least we can advise her to eat less junk food, so the growth doesn't get any bigger." Susan clapped in agreement with this idea. "Yes, it's best to tell her to get it cut off completely," I inwardly scoffed. In my previous life, when I painstakingly advised Hannah to remove her growth, they outwardly agreed but secretly mocked me for meddling. Even after Hannah returned to normal, they were two-faced, sowing discord with me. In this life, simply because of Ethan Shen, they were now actively trying to help Hannah treat her hemorrhoids. It's just that they didn't understand the current Hannah at all. Ethan Shen was her everything right now. That treasure that could emit a fragrant beard scent, how could Hannah bear to cut it off? Sure enough, as soon as they opened their mouths, Hannah immediately flared up. "What do you mean?" Hannah suddenly stood up from her chair, her movement too forceful, pulling at her wound. The pain made her gasp, her face turning pale, but her anger made her ignore the pain. "You're complaining that my scent is too strong? That I'm an eyesore now? Didn't you all say it smelled very fragrant before?" "Hannah, we're not complaining about you," Susan tried to explain. "We see that you've been walking uncomfortably lately, and eating so much spicy and cold food isn't good for your health. That peculiar growth will become more serious." "Yes, yes," Lily hurriedly chimed in, trying to force a look of concern. "You see how you can't even sit still? It pains us to see it. Eat less stimulating food, it will be good for your recovery. The scent might also be fresher and more natural." She tried to subtly hint at the scent weakening. "What do you all know?" Hannah's voice became shrill. "This is the scent Hao Ming likes the most, a unique beard scent." Her tears flowed, accompanied by choked sobs. "I think you're all just jealous that Hao Ming likes me." Becoming more agitated with each word, Hannah's body trembled slightly. "Fine, if you all find me disgusting, I'll let Hao Ming settle this." She sobbed as she quickly unlocked her phone, directly video calling Ethan Shen. Her actions were so fast that Lily and Susan gasped. "Hannah, don't." Susan's face changed. "Are you crazy?" Lily was also panicked. The call connected very quickly, and Ethan Shen's handsome face immediately appeared on the screen. "Hannah, what's wrong?" Ethan Shen's voice held a hint of concern. He saw Hannah's tear-streaked face and frowned slightly. "Hao Ming, sniff." Hannah's crying immediately became both coquettish and aggrieved. Facing the camera, her tears flowed even more fiercely. "I'm so sad. Lily and Susan, they said I'm disgusting, and they said my beard scent is suffocating them. Boo-hoo, they even forced me to eat less, wanting to dilute the beard scent you like the most." She added fuel to the fire, crying until she was out of breath. On the phone screen, Ethan Shen's face visibly darkened. "Oh, they said that?" Lily and Susan frantically shook their heads and waved their hands, wanting to explain but were too intimidated by Hannah's crying and Ethan Shen's gaze to form a complete sentence. "We didn't." Susan tried to defend herself, her voice as weak as a mosquito's buzz. Hao Ming, look at them, they still won't admit it. Hannah immediately pointed at them, accusing them, and crying even louder. Ethan Shen's cold gaze swept over the two frightened roommates behind Hannah, finally resting on Hannah's face. Hannah, don't cry. His voice softened a bit. They don't know how to appreciate it, it's their loss. But to me, your fragrant beard scent is a unique existence. Such domineering words plunged the dormitory into a deadly silence. Hannah hung up the phone, her crying abruptly stopped. She wiped away her tears, not a trace of grievance left on her face, only smugness and a sense of victory. She provocatively glanced at Lily and Susan's ashen faces. I stood by, taking in the entire absurd drama, watching Hannah's contorted posture of triumph, watching her proudly embrace that wildly developing time bomb. A wave of sarcasm rose in my heart. Hannah, enjoy this last period. Enjoy the love you exchanged for your fragrant, beard-scented gas. Be careful how you gain it, for that's how you might lose it. After all, a bubble blown too big will always have to burst. Ethan Shen's confession completely ignited Hannah's fervor. She no longer had any inhibitions, completely indulging herself. Fried potato chips, spicy sticks, and cold Coca-Cola became her main diet, and she was even more willing to sit on cold chairs for love. When she walked, the width between her legs grew larger and larger, her posture as strange as a penguin learning to walk. Lily and Susan became completely invisible in the dormitory. They kept their mouths shut. Every time Hannah waddled past, they avoided her as if she had a plague. Even their gaze towards me carried a shared resentment. The dormitory window was always wide open, yet the room always held a faint beard scent. Lily texted me, "How can you still be so calm?" "Calm?" I sneered. "I'm just waiting for the day Hannah blossoms right before the school anniversary." The air was filled with excitement. In the dormitory, Hannah stood in front of the mirror, continuously adjusting her newly bought two-piece dress. The skirt clung tightly to her waist and hips, creating a full, rounded curve. She had a good figure and naturally liked to wear clothes that accentuated it. She had just forgotten one thing: her peculiar growth had become too large to ignore. Today, Ethan Shen had a performance. Hannah had prepared a big surprise for him. I calculated the dates. In my previous life, when I accompanied Hannah for surgery, the doctor luckily told us that if we had waited one more month, the growth would have ruptured. And that, 1 month later, was probably right about now. Coupled with Hannah's continuous self-stimulation, I just needed to sit back and watch the show. The anniversary celebration was held in the school's grand auditorium. The ancient hall below was packed with people. On stage, lights intertwined and music echoed. The backstage was crammed with students waiting to perform or change, a busy and noisy scene. Hannah held a large bouquet of flowers, ready to wait until the end of the event to present them to Ethan Shen. I found a corner near the door, with an excellent view and convenient for escaping at any time. Ethan Shen wore a simple white shirt, his tall figure focused on the stage proceedings. Occasionally, he spoke quietly to a student council member next to him. His profile under the lights was undeniably handsome. He was the MC for today's anniversary. This was his moment to shine. Perhaps many years after graduation, he would still feel proud and honored recalling his hosting performance today. Therefore, he hosted the show very seriously. The moment the anniversary celebration ended, the audience below the stage applauded. Hannah appeared splendidly amidst this applause. A sweet smile blossomed on her face as she held the bouquet and walked solemnly towards Ethan Shen. Ethan Shen heard her, his eyes lit up. Suddenly, Hannah let out a short cry of pain. Her body immediately lost balance, and she stumbled forward. Ethan Shen thought she had tripped and quickly stepped forward to support her. At that very moment, a asterisk thump sounded, a bursting sound that traveled through the microphone and echoed throughout the auditorium. Time seemed to stand still. Ethan Shen stared blankly at Hannah. Before he could react, a dizzyingly sweet and pungent beard scent, almost materialized, exploded like a wave of gas. This sickly sweet, overpowering scent immediately dominated all the perfumes, sweat, and cosmetics backstage, rudely invading everyone's nasal cavities. Several people immediately covered their mouths and noses, but even more horrifying than the scent was the dark red stain that suddenly spread beneath Hannah's body. Everyone who witnessed this scene was shocked. Hannah, after reacting, frantically covered her bottom, but it was completely useless. Blood uncontrollably gushed out. "Ah!" From somewhere backstage, a girl's shrill scream was heard first. Blood, so much blood, oh my God, what happened to her? What is that smell? So sickly sweet, so disgusting. Panic, like an epidemic, immediately spread throughout the backstage area. The crowd was like a disturbed beehive. Shouts, shoves, chaotic footsteps, and the clatter of overturned tables and chairs immediately drowned out the music. Ethan Shen's composure was gone. He looked at Hannah in his arms, unable to let go, yet unable to hold her. The last vestiges of his reason made him ask, "Hannah, what's wrong?" Hannah sobbed. "My peculiar growth, it seems to have ruptured." Ethan Shen's movements suddenly stiffened. He unconsciously lowered his head and looked at his hands, covered in a warm, sticky liquid. Ugh! A heart-wrenching retch unexpectedly burst from deep within Ethan Shen's throat. He no longer cared about Hannah, abruptly bent over, violently dry-heaving onto the floor next to them, his handsome face filled with disgust and horror. Hannah saw this scene, her whole body trembling. Ethan Shen's gaze made her even more uncomfortable than the severe pain in her body. The light in her eyes suddenly extinguished. Coupled with the significant blood loss, she was physically and mentally exhausted. She could no longer hold on, collapsing weakly, falling heavily into the pool of beard-scented blood she herself had created. She fainted. The chaos reached its peak. Some screamed for an ambulance, some tried to maintain order. More people, horrified, covered their mouths and noses and retreated, afraid they wouldn't escape in time. I quietly stood in the shadows nearby, taking in this absurd spectacle. Hannah, is this non-surgical outcome what you wanted? The feeling of revenge was calmer than I expected, like drinking a warm glass of water. But at least this time, I wouldn't be pushed into a pond to drown. After returning to the dormitory, I packed all my belongings and left. Graduation was approaching. I didn't want to cause any more trouble. After all, in my previous life, Hannah could kill me without a word. In this life, in my opinion, Hannah's ending was even worse than before. Rather than guarding against a dog bite, it's better to directly nip the danger in the bud. Ethan Shen broke up with Hannah after that incident. No matter how much he liked the beard scent, he couldn't accept this happening to him. Moreover, due to the severe condition of her hemorrhoids leading to a sudden rupture, Hannah also lost the ability to pass beard-scented gas. After becoming a normal person, Ethan Shen found it even harder to love Hannah. Even when others mentioned her, Ethan Shen would get angry. As for Hannah, because of that giant beard-scented gas, she was deeply remembered by the entire school. Our homeroom teacher organized for our class to visit Hannah. When we arrived, we coincidentally overheard the doctor talking to Hannah. Through the window, Hannah lay prostrate on the hospital bed, her face pale as paper, eyes swollen and red, clearly having cried a lot. The doctor's face was serious. His voice, intermittent through the window, reached our ears. "You must have surgery immediately. Your current situation is a severe infection, and it could affect your bowel function later. You need to prepare yourself mentally. I suggest you inform your family." As soon as he finished speaking, Hannah frantically waved her hand, pulling out the IV needle. Fresh blood flowed down the back of her hand. "You're all lying to me. I clearly had surgery already. My peculiar growth was removed by Tina before. How could it suddenly rupture?" My heart surged with horror. This is not good. Hannah, she's been reborn. The homeroom teacher thought she had hit her head and was brain damaged, so she quickly went in to help the doctor restrain Hannah. I retreated a few steps, hiding behind the crowd, my lips bitten white. "She's psychologically agitated. She might need to be transferred to the psychiatric ward for consultation," the doctor said, wiping his sweat. The students looked at each other, whispering. Lily suddenly leaned into my ear and asked, "Tina, was she calling your name just now?" I laughed heartily. I didn't hear clearly. Didn't the doctor say her brain was damaged? Then I quickly left the scene. Who would have thought that 3 days later I would receive a message from Hannah? "Tina, could you come visit me at the hospital? I'm so scared." Familiar tricks. Every word exuded helplessness, as if the person who pushed my head into the water wasn't her. I stared at the phone screen, my fingers trembling slightly. This is a trap, but I have to go. There are only 1,000 days to be a thief. There's no such thing as 1,000 days to guard against a thief. I messaged the homeroom teacher, telling her Hannah was unstable and might need professional psychological counseling, and sent similar messages to Lily and Susan. "Hannah isn't doing well, let's go visit her together." Finally, I called Ethan Shen. "Brother, Hannah keeps mentioning you. The doctor said seeing you might help her recovery." The other end of the line was silent for a few seconds. I understand. He hung up. I exhaled a sigh of relief. Hannah, this time it's not you die, I live, but I live, you die. The hospital's disinfectant smell was a bit pungent. Hannah, I called softly, holding a bouquet of flowers as I entered. Hannah turned her head, saw it was me, and a joyful smile immediately bloomed on her face. Tina, you finally came. She intimately grasped my hand. I knew it. Among everyone, only you care about me the most. Oh, right, are you the only one who came? I pretended to pause for a moment, catching her expectant gaze, and slowly said, Lily and Susan will be here later. Ethan might also come. Hearing that Ethan Shen would come, Hannah's eyes immediately lit up, then dimmed again, her voice choked with sobs. It's all my fault. That day I wanted to give him a surprise, but now everything's ruined. I sat on the edge of the bed, gently patting her back, feigning comfort. It's not your fault. She asked me darkly and suspiciously. That's right, Tina, in this life, why didn't you advise me to get surgery to remove the growth anymore? My heart suddenly skipped a beat, but then I reacted, feigning ignorance. Which previous life? Is your spirit still not recovered? Besides, you like that fragrant beard gas so much, who would dare to advise you? Hannah stared into my eyes, seemingly judging the truth. Just then, the hospital room door was pushed open. Hannah, we're here to visit you. Lily and Susan entered, carrying fruit baskets, followed by Ethan Shen with an unwilling expression. Ethan Shen stood furthest away throughout. Everything was peaceful, until we were about to leave. Hao Ming, Hannah suddenly called him back. Can I talk to you alone for a few moments? Ethan Shen originally intended to refuse, but under everyone's gaze, he reluctantly nodded. We tactfully withdrew from the hospital room. As soon as the door closed, Lily rolled her eyes in disdain. What's with pretending to be pitiful? Disgusting. I ignored their argument and quickly headed towards the nurse's station. I went to ask when Hannah could be discharged. Actually, I was afraid her extreme personality would cause trouble, so I detoured to the observation window on the other side of the room. Through a gap in the curtains, I saw Hannah holding Ethan Shen's hand, crying. It's all Tina's fault. Ethan Shen frowned and pulled his hand away. What nonsense are you talking about? It's true, Hannah said agitatedly. If she hadn't advised me not to get surgery to remove the growth, how would I have embarrassed you at the celebration? Enough. Ethan Shen took a step back. Aren't you disgusting? This sentence was like a knife plunging into Hannah's heart. Her expression immediately contorted. What did you say? I said, Ethan Shen enunciated each word. You're disgusting. I'm telling you, without that beard scent, you're nothing to me. Hannah's entire body trembled. She suddenly grabbed the fruit knife on the bedside table. I immediately rushed into the hospital room. It was too late. A cold light flashed. Ethan Shen screamed tragically, blood spurting from his arm. Go to hell. Hannah frantically raised the knife to stab again. All of you go to hell? I lunged, grabbing Hannah's wrist. She turned her head to look at me, her eyes full of hatred. We struggled, overturning the IV pole. Ethan Shen, clutching his wound, stumbled out to call for help. You remembered, didn't you? Hannah shrieked in my ear. You did it on purpose. I gripped her knife-wielding hand tightly. So what if I remembered? Isn't all of this your own choice? I'll kill you, she struggled frantically. You're the one who ruined my life. Hearing this, I screamed, help, murderer! And at the same time, loosened my grip, allowing the knife in her hand to slice through my sleeve, leaving a trail of blood on my arm. When the medical staff and security rushed in, the scene they saw was Hannah raising a knife to stab me. She was quickly restrained and injected with sedatives, while I, overcome with fear, collapsed onto the floor, trembling uncontrollably. Ethan Shen's wound required stitches but was not life-threatening. She has serious mental problems, the doctor sighed, giving a preliminary diagnosis. He recommended long-term inpatient treatment. 1 month later, I stood outside the visiting room of the mental hospital. Hannah was restrained in a straitjacket, her eyes vacant, mumbling to herself, Hao Ming, I love you so much, but what about you? Do you love me or do you love my peculiar growth? After a while, she said again, Tina, I was wrong. I shouldn't blame you. Please forgive me. The nurse shook her head and told me, she's lucid one moment, confused the next. This time, she seems to be completely immersed in delusions. I looked at her through the glass for a moment, then turned and left. The sunlight shone on my face, warm and bright. In my previous life, Hannah killed me for an unrequited love. In this life, she is confined forever. That is very fair. I took a deep breath of the fresh air, ready to embrace a brand new life.